If it is or if it ain't, it's going to come out. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love. Your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. It is August the 16th, 2023, and today the topic is living water. Happy Wednesday, y'all. Happy Wednesday. I hope that you all had a terrific Tuesday. Mine was just fine. Things did not go fully as planned yesterday. I was supposed to record an episode of the GSL Talk Show, and I noticed that my guest hadn't logged in, and so I reached out, and unfortunately, she shared with me some sad news. So just keep Miss Monique in your prayers, her and her family, and things of that nature. And so, yeah, outside of that, I mean, hustling from home, being a mom, taking in quite a bit of content, I would say. And just, I guess one of the main things or cool things is, your girl whooped up a little bit of a little seafood boil yesterday, little shrimp, sausage, corn, potato, you know what I mean? And my husband thanked me for it, so I guess it was family approved, everything like that. So yeah, those are like highlights from yesterday. Y'all, those that may tune into this thing live, y'all may be noticing that your girl is recording well after 8 a.m. That is for a reason, y'all. I mean, I've been up ever since, I believe it was I guess it was 5:01. Because that's what I made a note of, at least. Or, you know what? I think I did wake up to the sound of at least one of my alarms, and then I snoozed a few times. So by the time the Lord woke me back up, it was like 5:01. That's going to be significant, I would say, to this conversation. However, I do want to share with you all, I guess, a little bit of why I'm tardy for the party. So, y'all, after I got up, I listened to my prayer meditation. I think I tried to listen to it twice because I must have fell asleep on it one time, X, Y, and Z. At some point, I felt like I had put on my mind. Well, the interesting thing is, when it came into my heart and mind, it said 10-fold ministry. But I'm familiar with 5-fold ministry, so I started going deeper about that idea. Then I also kind of started looking at the 10-fold just in case there was something else that the Lord was trying to show me through that. And I ended up taking this huge deep dive into studying about ministry and all these different things. Obviously, it ultimately led me to the conversation about women in ministry and things of that nature. And I'm like, Lord, what do you want from me to say? Or whatever the case is. And, even though I feel like there was a lot of information being downloaded, the only thing I feel led to say or share at this moment about my deep dive, aside from that I did it, is that there's more work for us to do. Church, there is plenty of work for us to do. At some point I was thinking that the Lord was going to have me kind of touch on this idea of titles, or this idea of, making light of, the gifting that God has given us because we want to step in someone else's lane, things of that nature, because I felt like that was where some of this was leading me to, and especially because we chit-chatted about it yesterday as well. But the more I dove in, the more I felt like, Lord, there's just so much here that I don't know what it is you want me to share about this. Now, I don't know if all of that was a distraction. I don't know. But I'm just sharing it with you all to, well, one, let y'all know why I'm recording so late. And then two, just, I guess, touch on those main points of like there's more work for us to do, male and female. The church is failing when it comes to the Great Commission. Like there's all this different type of stuff. The church is failing when it comes to this idea of making disciples. Like, I mean, and this is just church overall. You know, and the things I was studying wasn't lining up with things I've heard, you know, well respected individuals I respect in the faith. So I'm like, well, what does that mean? And then, you know what I mean? And all this different type of stuff. So I don't know. Like I said, it could have just been a big distraction, right? But at some point, I was like, Lord, what do you want me to say today? And basically at some point I was led back to the time that I woke up this morning, which was again, or that the Lord re-woke me up, right? And like I told you all early, that was 5:01. Read some verses centered around that, and that was good. But I ended up going to the Strong's Concordance and taking a deep dive into the words that was presented with when I looked up 5:01, and that is ultimately what led me to this conversation of living water. I think, I don't know if I just found more peace in sharing this message versus sharing all the other stuff. I don't know, but once I received this revelation, or I'll just say revelation. Once I received the revelation to, I guess, move forward with this idea of living water, it was refreshing, right, to receive the verses and whatnot that I come across. So let's get into it. Y'all. Living water. So, John 7:38, it says, whoever believes in me, as the scriptures has said, out of his heart will flow rivers of living water. I mean, hey, again, this verse reminds me that this is for anybody and everybody, It says, whoever believes in me. So therefore, it doesn't exclude anybody. The only exclusion is whether you believe or not. That's what I'm receiving today. Yeah, out of the heart will flow rivers of living water. Let me keep going with these verses. So we got Revelations 21:6, and it says, and he said to me, it is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. To the thirsty I will give from the spring of water of life without payment. So, I guess what stood out to me the most in this verse, y'all, is this idea of receiving something without paying. I'm familiar with, there's this place called Indian Springs in my hometown. Shout out, because, I believe that's the area my mom grew up in, and X, Y, and Z. But anywho, the thing about Indian Springs is there's this particular spring, or not even what I would say a body of water, but it's like a flowing fountain that it seemingly comes out of a rock. And in that place, people come and they fill up their jugs with water. It doesn't cost anything for you to do that. But it does cost something for you to get in the park. So, I mean, I guess if you think about it in that aspect, then I guess it does technically cost. But I guess I'm reminded of that flowing body of water, right? When it comes to this, right? Because it is saying to us that we're going to receive, this water of life without payment. If you're thirsty, you can come get it, basically. You guys can go deeper, see if you guys receive more about that verse, but that's what's standing out to me regarding that. So let's keep going. Jeremiah 2:13, it says, for my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and hewed out cisterns for themselves, broken cisterns that can hold no water. I mean, y'all, we know that we have forsaken the Lord, y'all. We fall short, everything like that. And I was saying that we committed two evils. Not only have we forsaken God, but it's like we're trying to make our own way. And then we're trying to get water with obviously what I'm imagining to be a broken vessel. You trying to get the water, But obviously you can't hold on to it because your cistern is broken. Um, so I mean, instead of doing that, right? Why don't we just go and get the flowing living water, um, and things of that nature versus trying to make our own way. Um, Again, that's what I'm receiving there, y'all. I mean, I think we're all guilty of this, one way or another. Um, but yeah, I hope that this encourages us and inspires us to do the opposite, right? To not uh, forsake Him and to not try to again make our own way and get it. Ultimately, that is a broken path or way. So something to think about. Here we go. John 7 and 37. It says, on the last day of the feast, the great day, Jesus stood up and cried out, if any one thirst, let him come to me and drink. I mean, y'all, again, it's saying anyone, everyone has access to this, anyone and everyone. Say if you thirsty, come on and drink. I don't know what else to say, y'all. I mean, it's a free gift. It's a free gift that we don't want to accept. Like the one gift that I probably ever heard of in my lifetime that people don't want to accept. That's free. Like anytime somebody gives you something for free, I most of the time you see people lining up, and ready to receive it, right? But for whatever reason, when it comes to this gift of Jesus Christ, the fountain of life and all this different type of stuff, we got the doubts. We trying to make our own way. We want to question the free gift. Did we talk about that last week? I feel like that sounds very familiar. I'm having a moment of deja vu. But anywho, just a reminder, y'all. It's a free gift that's steady flowing. That I mean, you didn't have to do anything to earn, or anything like that. Basically, it's just readily available to you whenever you're ready to receive it. So I mean, I guess that's the thing. That's the choice at the end of the day, receive it or not. But it's telling us here in the Word of God to come and drink, anyone that thirsts. And I believe that there's a lot of us that's thirsty, right? There's a lot of us that's spiritually thirsty, hungry, all of that. But again, we try to fill in that void with any and everything else. I can't do nothing but continue to tell my testimony. I was there too. I was trying to fill in the gaps with any and everything else and realizing that this don't feel right or something isn't all there, whatever the case is. And then ultimately, as I came to Christ and as I sought Him and tried my best to do His will, His way, and things like that, that's when I started to see these blessings overflowing in my life. Now, is it all about the blessings? No, because that's another thing too. As I was going and doing a deep dive, we can make an idol of the blessings, right? We can make an idol of the work that we do for God and all of that. I mean, we need to be more concerned about the relationship that we have and things like that. And I ain't gonna lie, like I said, I mean, at some point I'm like, well, Lord, I can kind of see how at some point we can get tired of being in your presence, right? Because like I said, this morning, I'm just getting all these downloads and I'm feeling like, I don't know what to do with it. Like, am I supposed to, like, if I feel like am I supposed to be rebuking everybody right now? Because it seems like all of this is just, I mean, there's conflicting messages all around and all of this. And I'm like, Lord, and then I'm confused. I don't fully understand, X, Y, and Z. But then, again, humbling myself in His presence, seeking Him and His will and way, He has blessed me, right, and bestowed upon me the living water. After all that helps me. And in this moment, I am free. I'm not feeling overwhelmed. I'm not feeling any of the stresses or anything that I was feeling earlier, So maybe it wasn't even necessarily the downloads. That's what I'm receiving in this moment. It probably wasn't even the downloads that I was, getting the quote unquote anxiety or whatever from. It could have just been this idea of religious, like we were talking about this yesterday. So let me see, can I find the word real quick? Expectations. the expectations. Now, granted, yes, there are things that are biblically written, X, Y, and Z, that we should honor and live by X, Y, and Z. And so I'm not trying to take anything from that. Obviously, I got to do a deep dive and get more understanding about everything and try to figure out again what the Lord is telling me and what his will is overall. But yeah, it's just one of those things, y'all. In this moment, like I said, it's just the difference between what I felt earlier and then what I feel now. So now that I'm discussing living water and whatnot, I feel this freedom and these things are coming to me to say to y'all, right? When earlier I was feeling like I don't know what to say, I don't know what, and I never know what I'm gonna say. That's another thing too. Just to, the only thing I write down in mornings, y'all, is the Bible verses and whatever quotes and stuff that I feel led to share. That's the only thing I write down. So everything else that comes and flows I feel like it's from the Lord, because that's what at least I pray before I start to whatever the case is. So. Anyway, let's get back to this whole thing about living water. All right. So let's see. Isaiah 12:3. It says, with joy, you will draw water from the wells of salvation. Yeah, man. I mean, that sounds like a beautiful idea, and everything like that. But let me keep going. Let's go to Revelation 22:17. The Spirit of the bride say, come. And let the one who hears say, come. And let the one who is thirsty come. Let the one who desires take the water of life without price. Y'all, I mean, hey, I guess what I'm seeing here, or what I'm feeling or seeing and hearing about this verse is, I guess, what's been reiterated this entire time, right? And actually, it kind of coincides with some of the things that I was studying this morning. Thinking about ministry and the fivefold ministry and all this different type of stuff, right? If we believe that we're the church, right? Each and every one of us is the church. And then it tells us that the church is the bride of Christ, right? Then what I'm seeing and hearing as I read this verse, Revelation 22:17, is that the Spirit of the bride say, come. So the church is telling us all to come, right? And then it's saying, let the one who hears come. So then the people who are hearing the church, the spirit of the church, right? Or the bride, however you want to look, right? Those that are hearing, then they come, right? And then if they're thirsty, right? And they come, right? And then those that desire this gift and whatnot, they come. So, ultimately, this is the juice this morning. I mean, obviously, we know that the living water is Christ at the end of the day. And, I'm sure there's so much more that we can dive deep about that concept, and then even diving deep about, water and its significance and all of that type of stuff. But, overall, what I'm receiving today is, y'all, let's come get the living water. It's a free gift. Readily available. Don't try to just come get the gift with your broken cistern and try to get your own way to get the gift. At the end of the day, a way has already been made for you, and that is through Jesus Christ. And I guess, y'all, that's the juice. That's the juice. All right. So the Bible verse of today is 2 Corinthians 1:3-4. It says, blessed be God, even the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of mercies and the God of all comfort, who comforteth us in all our tribulation, that we may be able to comfort them which are in trouble by the comfort wherewith we ourselves are comforted of God. Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye.
Everyone is stuck at home, but life is still happening around us every day. Birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, and celebrations. Send your friends and family the gift of wine from the comforts of home. Wine shop at home with Miracle of Wine. Wine, gift baskets, wine accessories, and more at miracleofwine.com.